Public service announcement for the long COVID community. Point number 1, seriously consider getting tested for POTS. And point 2, if you are tested for POTS, get it done properly in the morning. So let's break this down. What is POTS? It stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and it's defined by a rise in your heart rate of more than 30 beats per minute after going from a laying down position to an upright position within 10 minutes, among several other troubling symptoms. It's a form of dysautonomia, or a dysfunction of your autonomic nervous system, which is the part of your nervous system that you're not in conscious control over. And despite POTS being a common symptom among long COVID patients, it is often underdiagnosed or completely overlooked by many physicians. Now, luckily it was on my doctor's radar rather early on when I was diagnosed with long COVID, and so we tested for it twice. Tested the heart rate, also tested blood pressure and some other vitals, and they were all negative. And so we thought, okay, you're in the clear, you don't have POTS, let's focus on these other long COVID symptoms. Then after consulting a Swiss neurologist, she suggested testing for POTS in the morning, shortly after waking up. Why? Because in the morning you have fewer intervening variables and you have a lower chance of getting a false negative, which is what my first 2 tests were. Now, what might those intervening variables be? Well, when you just wake up, you don't have caffeine running through your body. Caffeine is both a vasoconstrictor as well as a stimulant, so that could affect the results. You're also slightly dehydrated. You don't have any food in your stomach actively being digested. All of those things which could throw off an accurate POTS test. So I went through the motions, did what the doctor suggested, and tested again first thing in the morning after waking up. I laid down for 10 minutes, took my average heart rate, then stood up, leaned against a wall, doing what's called a NASA lean test. And within 30 seconds, I had a stark, raving strong response. Within 30 seconds, my heart rate rose by more than 40 beats per minute. By 2 minutes, I could feel the blood pooling in my hands and in my feet and starting to tingle. By 4 minutes, I broke into a heavy, uncontrollable sweat. By 5 minutes, I was getting nauseous and dizzy. And by 7 minutes, I started blacking out, at which point I stopped the test early because there was no way that I would make the full 10 minutes. Needless to say, I was shocked by this. And this was over 10 months after my initial COVID infection. And I couldn't even stand up for 10 minutes in the morning. Now, on one hand, though, it's good that I got a diagnosis because there are medications, there are lifestyle changes that one can make to actually adapt to having POTS. On the downside, though, there is no known cure, and it's unclear if and when it will go away. But importantly, people do sometimes get better from POTS and dysautonomia. All in all, I view this as just another chapter, another challenge, another hurdle to overcome in this really challenging year of trying to overcome this really nebulous, really stubborn disease 10 months after infection. And the part here that's really difficult for me to swallow is that I went from a really high level of functionality. I went from training for my 3rd Olympic Games into being basically overnight ill and chronically ill, and not having a solid understanding of many of these symptoms or what the possible cures are. But on the plus side, getting an accurate diagnosis is the first step to getting better. And so for that reason, if you're in this position, if you're fighting long COVID, please test for POTS and test it early, and then maybe you can avoid some of the struggles that I've gone through. Good luck with it.